I started reading Caitlin Clark book by Christine Brennan. And I just wanted to know, like the rest of you, 90% of us, me and you, we started watching her junior year, her last couple years at Iowa, right? Oh, man, she shoots threes. She looks like Steph Curry. But when you read this book, Christine Brennan really holds the WA accountable. And she says the league was simply not prepared for and didn't do their homework. So the NBA has, I think, through the years, and the NFL, they kind of know when a star is coming, and they often soften up the schedule. The WNBA did not do that for Connecticut, having them play New York and Connecticut early. But this book talks about a specific moment. Caitlin's sophomore year, she goes on the road to face Michigan, a 20-2 team. She dropped 46 points, 10 assists, played every minute. It was her third 40-point game of her sophomore year. And in the book, it details how people that were at the game realized, oh, she's doing things we have never seen a women's basketball player do. 46 points, 10 assists, played every minute. There's also stories, and I don't expect the WNBA to have information when she was in 7th and 8th grade, but one of the fascinating stories is she was down, when she was like in the 7th or 8th grade, she was down 11 points with 1:07 left. Caitlin Clark went on a 13-0 run to win in like the 7th or 8th grade. But one of the criticisms I've had with the WNBA is it is your job to know and identify stars before they're at your doorstep. You got to see them coming up the driveway. And when you read this book, I think Christine really holds them accountable, and the WNBA has pushed back. But her shooting distance, multiple 40-point games, you don't get a lot of 40-point games, 45-point games from college men's basketball players. Like, you just don't see that. So she's dropping 46 as a sophomore. People that are at the game are talking about her passing's actually better than her shooting. She's a revolutionary player. So I think the book really dissects some of the lack of preparation or awareness. And, you know, you can just, like, also Christine Brennan holds women's basketball accountable for not putting her on the Olympic team, where they didn't have a lot of great perimeter shooters, and she was emerging as a noteworthy player when they were making those tryouts. So Christine Brennan last week on The Herd on Caitlin's impact to the WNBA.
This athlete, Caitlin Clark, is so important to the financial future of the WNBA. At the time, by the way, as you know, that the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, is open and will be being negotiated. All of these things that we would see, arenas having to be, games being moved to bigger arenas, and that we would be talking about a female athlete. Never in my lifetime did I think I would see that. And I think that's what makes this so remarkable and so different from another, phenom coming into a sport.
The book is called On Her Game. It really breaks down how all the signs were there, not as a junior, not as a senior. They were in the Big Ten on display late sophomore season. She was doing things, making passes, and taking shots from areas women did not shoot from. And the people that were in attendance at these games, especially the one in Ann Arbor, were awestruck by what they saw.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. Because there's the one thing that she said that was wrong. That Caitlin Clark is important to the financial future to the WNBA. And the reality is she is the financial future to the WNBA. People, as uncomfortable as it is, they need to accept that she is everything. It's just the way it goes, man. It's just the reality of the situation. Caitlin Clark is everything to the WNBA. It's not going to be like that forever. Because the more games people watch, the more fans that get brought in, they're going to expand. They're going to have other interests. I guarantee you, there are fans that came in and said, I'm here for Caitlin Clark, and now they're like, oh, I love Sophie. Oh, Lexi? Oh, what about Aaliyah Boston? And Asia Wilson, and any of these other people. I guarantee it. Because that's how it happens. That's how it happens. I was brought into the NBA as a fan from, greats like Michael Jordan and Kobe and Allen Iverson. But Iverson was definitely someone who really grabbed me. He became a cultural phenomenon in a lot of ways. And he's a small guy and tattoos and looked real cool and all that type of stuff. And it was like, I loved AI and all this, but like I started liking a lot of other players as well, and became fans of other players of other teams. Because at first it was like just this one team, and it was like, no, now I like any of these other teams. Because there was times where it's like, I only like the Lakers, I only like the Sixers, I only like, and it's like whatever star was popular at the time, only like the Bulls. And then it's just like you become smarter, you become a more educated fan. And for me, my trajectory of fandom became just a fan of sports in general. So it was just like I watch all the games, all the teams, and all of that. So it's like I can really cheer for like the Indiana Pacers, OKC, the Golden State Warriors. It's like because I'm just a fan of the sport itself. But I wasn't always like that. Not even close. The opposite of that. I only wanted to watch one team, one game, one city, one player. Like that, and then I evolved out of that. So it's okay that everything is all about Caitlin Clark right now. Embrace it. Double, triple, quadruple down. That's how this works. All of these massive billion-dollar, gazillion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies, Google, YouTube, Amazon, Meta, whatever it may be, there was all something that was very specific that was able to explode. And these companies doubled down on it. They knew that they didn't want it to be the only thing, but they doubled down on it. Whatever that specific thing may be. Something like a Netflix. Let's use Netflix as a great example. Sharing accounts. And Netflix knew that was a big part of why so many people are getting sucked into Netflix, because it was like sharing your username and password and whatnot and all this. And they said like, yeah, we know it's kind of hurting us right now, but like we want to get people hooked on Netflix. We want people to keep watching. And then they transitioned away from that. Amazon. I mean, Amazon it became this thing where they knew, okay, some of this stuff is not sustainable. Like Amazon's original business model, the way how cheap and fast they're able to deliver things, the long-term profitability of it was like not actually possible. But they were just like, this is becoming so massive, so popular, so inevitable, and becoming so crucial for the foundation and backbone of people's lives, it doesn't matter. It does not matter, because they're just going to keep going and going and going. And then we're going to be able to change shipping times, and we're going to be able to change prices, and we're going to be able to have things like Amazon Prime memberships, and we're going to be able to raise memberships, and then we're also going to be able to do other stuff in tech and movies, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. I mean, look about Facebook and Meta, like what that once was. What brought people in. Think about like Instagram. Instagram gets on the scene, and it was like just pictures, nothing else, and like they double, triple, quadruple down on that, and now it's become everything else beyond that. Any of these things. I mean, Google was just a search engine, and it was just like, let's just be the best search engine. Let's just double, triple, quadruple down on that. Let's just make sure that everyone is using Google, nothing else. And then we expand. Then we do other stuff. Like that. That's how these businesses work. I mean, heck, people now know Apple more for phones than they do computers. And that, that's just a reality. And so like that's what this is with Caitlin Clark. Is just go all in. And the WNBA is doing a bad job at it, even now. Because look at all the injuries that are happening around all of sports, but obviously basketball. Caitlin Clark is being worn down. You can see it on her gameplay. The physicality of defense. She's never given any space. Everything is so contested, so physical. Why she's also so heavily relying on all of these deep threes, but even when she tries to drive to the basket, it's always so physical. They allow such physicality, and I love the physicality. I had a whole video talking about like, how do we balance this out? We don't want to completely neutralize it. We want some of the chippiness. We want some of the physicality, but how do we balance it out? How do we balance it out? And we can see, we saw the doomsday scenario of the Indiana Pacers and Halliburton. we see that there is a problem. The WNBA cannot afford to have that to Caitlin Clark, to have that to happen to Caitlin Clark. They need to be smart. This is what the NBA did for players like Harden, for players like Dame, for Steph, etc. They realized, you know what? The really popular and explosive and exciting players are not 6'7", 240. They don't look like LeBron James. They're not just backing people down. They're not Shaquille O'Neal. They're not these 7-foot monsters. It's these guys who are like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". They can shoot, they can dribble. But we need to officiate a little bit differently right now. We need to let these players cook. We need to create an environment that does not wear these players down. And the NBA benefited because of that. The NBA erupted because of that. And we had some of the most exciting games you could ever imagine. And that's what's happening with the WNBA with Caitlin Clark. But they still haven't caught up. They still have not caught up in that regard. And it's going to bite them. We already got a little bit of the canary in the coal mine. I said this in my NBA video with Halliburton getting injured. I said, that's not a canary in the coal mine. The coal mine's already blown up. It's done. See ya. They need to figure something out immediately. The WNBA with Caitlin Clark going down and having a lingering issue with her, I think it was her hamstring or quad. I forget now. We saw that. We saw the WNBA absolutely plummet. Greater than 55%. This is true. The WNBA did not exist when Caitlin Clark was not playing. Just a fact. And with Caitlin Clark playing, it was immediately some of the most exciting moments all summer, all year that you could watch. When Caitlin Clark's return game against New York, absolutely insanity. They need to be smart. They need to be smart. It's not babying her. It's not, it's not doing anything that's not what all of these other leagues have done. The NFL did it. When they saw all these quarterbacks, their popularity, how important the team's success were on them, and they were like, we got to protect these quarterbacks. No more low hits. No more cheap shots. We got to protect these quarterbacks. We need Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We need these guys on the field. Nobody wants to watch the Baltimore Ravens with a backup quarterback. Nobody wants to watch the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills with a backup quarterback. Nobody wants to see that. They want to see Josh Allen take on Patrick Mahomes. That's what they want to see. Nobody wants to watch Cindy Smith in the WNBA. They want to see Caitlin Clark. Accept it, own it, embrace it. And if you play your cards right, within the next 5 years, this league will be booming and there'll be plenty of other stars. And you'll have the battles. You'll be like, I'm a Paige fan. It'll actually be like almost like not cool to like Caitlin Clark. Because that's how it becomes. Oh, everyone loves Kobe. Everyone loves Iverson. Everyone loves Steph. Everyone loves Dame. It's like, and you start to pick more of like the alternative players. The sneaky players. Like, I actually love Draymond. Like, no, man, Clay's actually better. Like, that's how it happens. That's how it becomes. All right? So just go with it. Double down. Triple down. Be smart about it. Protect your asset. Build around it. Double, triple, quadruple down. And this league could be massive, insanely popular, and can own the summer. There's nothing going on in the summer. Nothing. Football is an absolute grind. Basketball really depends for the NBA. WNBA, this could be the summer. It could be can't miss box office TV, especially if some of these other girls can catch up in talent and excitement. And it won't be so focused just on Caitlin Clark. But for the time being, that's what it is. So just accept it. And everybody will be better, richer, more successful for it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA needing to, do a better job of supporting her? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.